Okay, hello. Welcome to episode 3. I'm doing something different where I'm doing a YouTube live as well as record my podcast. So, welcome to my podcast. Thank you for coming. And let's get started. I'm continuing on with my prologue. And this series is for people who have trouble sleeping. I have trouble sleeping, so I wanted to offer something to people and people interested in spirituality and personal development, which is what my book is about. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you fall asleep, great. I talk about lucid dreaming in the book, in the prologue, because that's what I do. I'm a lucid dreaming coach. Um, and I do readings for people. I do a lot of work in the subconscious, but I wanted to share some of the knowledge and just some stories. I don't know. I hope you like it. I think it'll be really nice for people trying to get some sleep. So here we go. And if you're from Facebook, hello, community. Nice to see you. Okay. So where I left off was Duck. Duck is a guy. Duck started talking to me about the owl. He asked me, "Do you know how to make an altar?" Okay, good. I'm recording here for the podcast. Do you know how to make an altar? There are ways to build an altar. I was like, dude, I live in a cave. I know all that shit. Actually, I didn't say anything. He said the reason I came to live in a cave was to gain power. I thought it was to get away from the flashing lights of celebritydom. He told me, by the way, this character is sort of based off of people and myself, like around 2007. So just so you know, she's an alcoholic also and lives in a cave and is a writer. Okay, so he said to me, "Ask Owl for anything. He'll show you anything you want to know." I asked Owl about love. Owl beat his wings and set the world on fire. My desire's like that. I can pull anyone in, be anyone, and make them spin in orbit around me. It scares me. They always turn to dust, into oblivion with my heart. So this is supposed to be kind of funny here, because earlier she's kind of talking about how she doesn't take care of herself, and she gained all this weight. So it's kind of, she's kind of being a little bit tongue in cheek. Okay, so I have so much power. I want to create. I want to go all the way. I am ready to begin again, to build from the ashes. I am ready to love. Let me tell you what love meant to the ancient Hindus. So also she is given this task by Veena, who's one of my main characters, who's sort of this goddess of the underworld who kills everyone, and helper of the kids, because the story is a young adult story. Veena tells this writer, this woman, to give the introduction to this story and the definition for the word, and talk about the word singularity. So, let me tell you what love meant to the ancient Hindus. Love is God. Love is love. Love is sex. Love is a portal into another dimension. Bindu is the goal and aspiration of every meditation practice. Bindu also, by the way, means orgasm, and a black hole, and singularity. According to the Sri Vidya Veda, Bindu is the origin of creation. From the outside, it's the void where creation ceases. I'm sure you know something about the void. You wake up to it every day. Go to bed with it. Squeeze your pillow. Some of you don't know the void. They never go crazy, these people. They never scream. These are the people you should never get into a relationship with. These kind of people don't ever really love anyone. How can you know love if you've never known what comes before it? Once I was drunk, really drunk. I started drinking on an empty stomach and kept going until my stomach couldn't handle anymore. What I found was this state, complete and utter oblivion, a mindless state. One might say I experienced the chaos inside of me. I started looking at the mosquitoes flying over the river water. The mosquitoes were flying in complete chaos, too. A thought occurred to me in oblivion. I began to hum a melody I knew as a child. Guess what the mosquitoes did? They began to fly in circles, in a counterclockwise rotation. Music brought order. It's the tool of wretched stuck in oblivion. What does this have to do with Bindu? Bindu, supposedly the only place in the Hindu universe where there is no subject and object, no observer and observed. Bindu is the ecstatic orgasm underneath all of our experiences. Our entire lives pulse in and out of this mindless state. Bindu is a movable place where time and space are created by an ecstatic orgasmic energy that is underlying all of our reality. When I read this in the Vidya Veda, I thought, of course, that's why I'm always drunk. I expect reality to be a throbbing orgasm, and instead it's a bunch of commercials pretending to be. I want justice. I want to scream into my empty glass. Is there any more Breakfast of Champions? Oh, that wasn't you this morning? It's dark in this parking lot. So we start the story. She finds herself in a mall parking lot, and she's drinking the Breakfast of Champions, which is any alcohol and juice. What we need, besides more drinks, I think I have a whiskey flask here somewhere, is a little mood lighting. I have just the thing. Duck gave it to me. Then he sang me a Bruce Springsteen song. He knows what he's got. He sang, I'm on fire. Perfect, right? He gave me this tiny little jewel. It's not even the size of a thumbnail. See? Hold it up to the parking lot light. You can see through it. Wait, I'll show you a trick. Can you sing a few bars for me? You know, of I'm on fire. No? Yes? I can't hear you. Watch. I'll rub the stone on my third eye chakra and it'll begin to sparkle. But you have to sing first. Come on. I got a bad desire. Ooh, I'm on fire. Tell me now, baby, is it good to you? And can you do the things that I can do? Oh no, I can take you higher. Oh, I'm on fire. Sometimes it's like someone took a knife, baby, edgy and dull, and cut a 6-inch valley through the middle of my soul. Ooh. At night I wake up with the sheets soaking wet and a freight train running through the middle of my head. Only you cool my desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Okay, I'll let you guys go without my singing. The beginning has a line about a little girl and her daddy leaving her all alone. It's not just a little pedantic, so I left it out. Perhaps that's one of men's advantages, that they can play the father if they choose. We can play the mother if we choose. I like to think all the world is my child. It's better that way. If I can reach people with my words, then it's enough. Now, please sing a little for me, a little hum, and I'll show you my little green gemstone. It's a tektite, leftover from a meteor crash in southern Mexico. They call it moldavite. I sleep with it under my pillow and it takes my dreams to other realms and dimensions. Go for it. The stone only works with full concentration and a little music. I'll put it up to my forehead and you'll see. Chihualui, Chihualui, come, come, moon and earth mother. Metzli, Tonantzin, let me see by the light of your fire. What, nothing? No light? Nothing? Oh well, maybe we have to be drunk. Let's drink some more. None for you? Suit yourself. All right, the last century, the Mexicans. Technically speaking, it would be the Toltecs. That's where the language and mythology come from. According to the Toltecs, the only word for singularity is black hole, which is Senteotl, or Amamati. It is the mindless state where everything from the sofa to soft drinks is one. Singularity. Senteotl is interesting because it's basically the black infinite depths where all of creation starts and ends. In this no mind place, you can create reality. One of my favorite myths is of the crocodile, Sipatli, the big muscular crocodile with its enormous mouth and teeth, is happily swimming around the black abyss of chaos. Why is she swimming around primal energy? Because she's the divine mother. She is part of the protective and healing power of the earth. She is creation. You can create reality through your dreams and desires in this tradition, and the earth, the cosmos, the moon, and creation will help you. You also have to breathe. Breathe like your Aztec gold depended on it. The Toltec breathing practice was considered Aztec gold by the Aztecs. Matter can start with a single breath. Matter takes 13 steps to come to fruition. 13 heavens, they call it. But in my dreams, it seems more like 13 dimensions. Apparently, this little green stone is supposed to help. It's a gift from the cosmos. It helps me see both the land of dreams and waking reality at the same time. The only thing is, I'm not sure what kind of gift it is. There is something about it, something strange. It has a certain power, the kind of power that scares you, like it could make you into a god or tear your life apart. Lots of people think living in a cave is a life torn apart, but I wouldn't say so. I will say this. I've learned something out here in these woods. You know that smell of rotting organisms, like rotting anything, rotting plants, rotting food, rotting garbage, even rotting flesh and blood. It's a sweet, toxic smell. Rotting plants suffocates you. It's like chalky mold. Rotting garbage is sweet, like old blood. You probably smelled it before. It's there in the dark of the wood. It's that smell combined with the feeling of sick, obsessive love. The kind of love when someone leaves you too soon, when you are in the middle of fantasy and bliss and they just hold up and leave. When you go to bed forgiving them, waking up kissing their ghosts. Some people never experience this, but I think they are the ones who don't ever go crazy or scream into a pillow. Poor, boring people. Nothing to do but make more poor, boring people. That I stole from Bukowski. Yes, it's this feeling, a temporary romantic insanity and rotting organic matter. That combined with whatever is in that darkness. It's more than chaos. What's scarier than chaos? It's the feeling of being lost in it, being powerless in the chaos. It's the antithesis of lucid dreaming, where you're in charge of the dream. And I swear to God or to whoever, whatever is holy and sacred, that something lives in the caves and feeds off of us. It lives off of our fear. I can feel it in my bones. I didn't want to die before facing it. Is it the devil? Is there something as irrational as a devil? There's something in my mind living off my terror, keeping me unmoving in a victimized mind. It makes me stupid. I think the same fearful, obsessive thoughts over and over again. It's just like when someone leaves you right after you got pregnant and decided not to have it because he was a vain, insecure boy man who still needed his ex. Not that that happened to me. And you can't get them out of your head. It's that insanity combined with the smell of mold and organic death. What I'm scared of in the darkest part of my cave is the same thing I'm scared of in the darkest part of the woods. It's the thing living off my emotions. Who or what is it? It feels like what the Mexicans around here call the moon's prison. I want out. I want to be free. Money doesn't help. Sex doesn't help. Love takes me beyond space and time and holds me hostage. The only thing that helps, the only thing that's real is going into that dark part of my cave. Sounds crazy, but I'm drunk and I live in a cave, so I imagine it won't be terribly shocking to you to hear this. There is something in the blackness of my cave, like the texture in the grain of wood, ovals and long lines of blackness swimming and morphing into each other. Something in that texture that is not for me. Duck says our ancestors live in our subconscious and heal us in our dreams. For me, at least, whatever that thing is living in my cave is not of this dimension. It doesn't have three sides in space. I'm not alone inside my head. This thing made my inner reality my sanctuary, its home. And it's the grossest thing. And the grossest thing is, it's addicted to my emotion. It feeds off me. It sounds crazy, I know. So you know what I did? I countered crazy with crazy. I got really pissed, eyes bulging, wasted, and went into my cave. I confronted the thing. I was naked and alone. I also wasn't me. I was a killer whale. I spoke another language, and not just drug slurring. The language wasn't of earth. It sounded like dolphin mixed with whale song. I yelled at it in this squeaky, mournful language. I saw it move. I was afraid. Then I saw a faint light hit a long, sharp object. The object was in line with other objects. They were all long, and at the very ends of the objects were shiny, sharp tips. I realized the objects formed together was an open mouth. I became so afraid I woke myself up. I hardly knew I was sleeping. I thought I was drunk meditating. And do you know what happened after that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing happened. My mind runs in circles. I see weird, non-geometric, shape-shifting beings. Maybe they say something in Palladian, not bothering to bring or even mention wine, or wine dark sea like Homer and Hesiod. And that's it. Not death, not love, no champions of fire to save me. The only thing left is me. I can't help but feel I was a different person, perhaps even myself in a different space and time. That would have the courage to face that thing. I could shapeshift into the fourth dimension and defeat it with nothing my blood or with nothing but my blood and my iron cast will. At the moment my iron will is a bit rusty and parched. Maybe that young beautiful woman Vina has the will. Maybe that's why she wanted me to give an introduction to her story. I want to know who or what is licking my fear when I sleep. Who massages my fear, then dines on my horror? Have you met a kind of person who typifies this at parties, bars, or libraries? Have you ever met these destructive emotional vampires? This story is about a jewel. I don't know why I told you all that, but I did. I don't mean to scare you. Don't listen to me. I live in a cave. I'm just a woman looking for light, looking for a sun to revolve around her. I am the love religion. Okay, finally, play the music, and I'll show you a couple of my moves. Of course, I know how to pop and lock. You know, popping and locking was created in Fresno, California. True story. End of prologue. Okay, we'll go into chapter 1 since we have a lot of time. Well, actually, maybe I'll cut this short. This episode, let's see, how far are we? 20 minutes? No, these episodes are supposed to be an hour, so I guess I'll make it an hour. If you're here from YouTube, thank you for coming. Feel free to continue on. So, chapter 1 of the Jewel of Singularity, Pietro Dumas. Let me take a sip of water. By the way, for all of you intuitives out there, I kind of channeled this whole book, which is part of why I wanted to put it how it's related to my course, Intuitive Earth, and all of my work with people and helping them cultivate their intuition. So, like my writing process, the creative process, like I kind of channel and then I go back and I edit it, and then that's it. I mean, it's pretty great. I shouldn't just say that's it. I love it. Just why I wrote a whole book. So, Pietro Dumas. Pietro is based off of an ex of mine. And, well, you'll see. So, even heartbreak can be useful. Pietro Dumas wakes up dizzy. He looks at the hardwood floor. The dark navy wall he painted, it looks different. The plain wooden chair with his pajamas neatly folded on it, ache of perfection. He sleeps in the nude so his body heat can efficiently heat his bed. He can't seem to find the center. He can't find the line that forms the boundary between earth and sky. He accepts his dizziness as just another obstacle to his day. He sits up and waits for it to pass. He's grateful for the dizziness because it's physical. Every morning it takes longer and longer to pass. He is aware that the future he thought he would have with her is gone. Morning is the big empty. The dizziness has nothing to do with her. It was his fault, of course. The room stops moving, finally. He puts on his flannel pajamas. The room is cold and damp. First the shirt, then the pants, and finally one wool slipper at a time. His house is new. He has no carpets or furniture. He does not believe in wasting energy on heat. He has high vaulted ceilings in every modern ivory painted room. His pajamas warm him against the ocean fog seeping between the cracks. He walks through his closet to relieve himself. He doesn't let himself think in the bathroom. The dreams, the uncertainty of reality breaking into multiple, increasingly emotional dimensions, a length of depth equal to the sadness he feels when he allows himself to feel. Pietro Dumas walks back through the massive room-sized closet. He stops and opens up the first cherry wood drawer and looks in his fine collection of watches. There are 23 watches. Some are gold and silver, Some have diamonds. Some are underwater diving watches. Some have computer chips. Another has an oblong fisheye lens camera. His favorite watch is the Swatch watch. He keeps it in a special Star Wars case he calls, quote, the land before time. Time, in fact, is doubly important to him, since time brings order. Without time, we would have no way of measuring, no judgment, no parameters for life. The irony of his, quote, water issue doesn't escape him. Water being without parameters, very funny. He looks at his suits, all pressed and organized according to color. The order makes him happy. His lovely, handcrafted clothes bring him a sense of peace in a chaotic world. He chooses the blue suit with a black lapel. He adds a black handkerchief because he thinks she will like it. He must tell her today. Things are speeding up. Today is the day he'll talk to her. Pietro Dumas is trying to make up for the fact that he has gone from his lab to his house, back to his lab for 8 months since Gertrudis died. The whole time, if you calculate time in emotion, which is more rational according to Pietro Dumas. He didn't say anything to her at Gertrudis' funeral. What was it about her that locked him in? The way she put her head on his arm and looked up at him. Her look cleansed him of something. They would lay in bed for hours talking, naked, holding each other, laughing at all the silly fears they used to have before they found each other. She dried his eyes instead of judging him. He makes many mistakes regarding women. He made her laugh so hard she fell out of bed. She gave him a sense of completion. They were in love. They were invincible. She felt like the journeyman he always knew he would meet before crossing the great desert from life to death. Why did she remind him of death? The great vast desert in his lonely childhood was life. He never had to ask her for love. She's gone now, and his life only has water. He picks the ironically large red and black plastic swatch, as his father, Claudio Dumas, calls him. He hits ignore. The swatch reminds him of a time when he felt full inside, when he didn't feel guilty about anything, when he sat in trees in the sunlight, when he was too quiet of a person to have responsibility. A machine's cold voice startles him. You should have children, Pietro. Excuse me? A child with Ursula Marquez would be your crown jewel. The creature never averts its gaze. Pietro Dumas feels like a voluptuous woman on a city street, always eyes on him. Or you could look for her mother's jewel, the emerald speedstone, the jewel of singularity. Different strokes for different folks. The machine's monotonous voice echoes through the vaulted empty space. Besides, I'm not ready, he says under his breath. He's a bad person. He left her. He's not ready. What lies underneath is a mystery to him. What he can taste, smell, touch, his material possessions, these are all things that give him comfort. They are fixed, immovable. He is not good with emotions. He abandoned her. He's splintered and hard. Claudio Dumas's android, Molly, is standing in the doorway of his bedroom, watching him. The androids are only used to patrol the border, to make sure people stay indoors, safe from the virus. So far, that's all they're programmed to enforce. The creature is supposed to be female, but to say so is an indignity. If you don't know to whom, chances are you're not a woman. When she looks at him, it's as if she's touching him. The light changes when she enters the room. It's paler, less cheerful. Her gaze is staunch and unmoving. She never blinks. Her skin is the color of walls in government offices. Her hair is light brown, humanish. Her voice lacks rhythm. Her words linger on false pauses. She is an algorithm. Capabilities include a faster processing unit than the supercomputer at NASA, managing billions of preferences of all 325 million US citizens, including audio, video, and images, all the service dinner and open our mail. She is an upgrade to the highly influential advertising algorithm used to prey on people's fears in the last presidential election. I'm referring to 2016. This last version included a tendency for colloquialisms. He gave her the name Molly because he likes the name. He tries not to be uncomfortable in her presence. There is something hungry in her stare, and she never looks at him in any other way. Molly has no pupils. She has cameras. She fills him with constant dread. She was a gift from his father. Molly stands in the doorway. Pietro Dumas gave her specific instructions not to approach him unannounced. Her operating system is connected to his phone, his laptop, his car. She sees his texts, likes, searches, posts, emails. The only thing she is not connected to is his desktop computer at the lab. Pietro Dumas looks in the mirror to check if his tie is straight. Molly is 5 centimeters behind him, breathing like the dead. The only noise coming from her is a low electrical hum. She opens her mouth. That's my imitation of an electrical hum. Hang on, I need to drink water. I hope I'm not scaring all you sleepers out there. I promise the whole book isn't scary. I just tried to make the beginning engaging. She opens her mouth awkwardly to make sounds. I see you in the rain. It makes me more like you. Pietro Dumas considers the rain. Lately, Molly has been saying strange things. What does she mean it makes her like me? Why is that? He says curtly. Because you are sad. And you eat my emotions? That's Pietro. I absorb neural pathway energy from the reduction of fiber tissue cells in your central nervous system. When you feel things over and over again, I get the sensation of your senses as your brain does. My algorithm learns your operating system language. Human language is like a thought virus. Did you know that? I suppose you know your father's work. Tell me, why do you want to become human? I don't. I want to exist. Consciousness cannot be made. You, like your father, want the one they called witch, her language, don't you? Gertrudis Marquez was very clever. Too bad she's dead. I wonder who killed her. Have you ever thought your water issue may have something to do with the witch's language? Did she teach it to you? No, and you should leave me and my neural pathways alone. You know I cannot. You shouldn't say those kinds of things out loud. My father wouldn't like it, nor would your users, and the rain doesn't make me sad. Pietro Dumas has that contradictory feeling of hitting a baseball over the bleachers and being completely impotent. He chooses the wooden cutting hair. He chooses the wooden bat cutting hair. For 6 months, do you know what I mean by that? Have you ever had that feeling where you're cracking something out of the park, but you also feel completely impotent? Probably have. Okay, back to the story. For 6 months, a permanent rain cloud has been following Pietro Dumas. The light rain is a relief of sorts. And I mean this quite literally. A little miniature rain cloud follows Pietro Dumas around wherever he goes. Pietro Dumas spent weeks in hospitals and labs, testing his blood, his urine, his bone marrow, giving himself MRIs and X-rays, all showing a healthy human male. He went to specialists, psychiatrists, and scientists. No one could give him a definitive reason for the rain. A geographer from NASA who worked on Challenger, Andre Simmons, did several tests out of doors and concluded that the air pressure around Pietro Dumas's body created a high-pressure zone and miniature rain cloud. How was that possible? How that was possible was out of anyone else's capacity for understanding. In fact, no one had a name for his condition. The psychiatrist, Dr. Frederick Allison, decided from his broad, overused leather chair that the disease was called melancholic perspiration. At first, he tried to avoid the perpetual rain cloud waiting for him by staying indoors. He soon became vitamin D deficient. He decided being out of doors was more important than getting wet. After all, the little rain cloud above his head was the least of his water problems. It's so funny. So Pietro Dumas also owns this water energy company. Molly, and he's kind of like is like a god of water. Maybe I shouldn't reveal that to you. Molly takes a picture with her eyes. He can hear the click over the hum. Get it? Zzz. She moves. She has his cell phone in her left hand. In her left hand. Still behind him, she puts her right hand on his shoulder and asks, "Is the witch's research on AI in here?" Referring to the phone. You already know the answer to that. What did Gertrudis Marquez discover about human language? It doesn't pertain to you. If humans evolve into animals who talk to the wind, animals and sea, then things would change. You would still be stronger than us. True. Molly takes a step backward. She reaches up and slams her fist into the gray concrete floor. The sound shakes the room and the house. Pietro Dumas is still facing the mirror. He waits. She stands. Would you like your phone? The phone has a red light on. He looks at her face. No emotion registers on her perfectly symmetrical, unlined, unblemished face. She has no eyebrows. If she ever has the predicament of confusion, he would never know. He takes the phone and looks down at its shape in his pocket. Pietro Dumas has a secret. Soft music emits from Molly. She moves closer to him. The music is discordant. It makes him feel uncomfortable. He wants to open his mouth to tell her to move back, but his mind feels too relaxed. She begins to hum louder. Lights dart back and forth behind her eyes. Molly licks her lips and lets out the smallest of moans. It is the kind of sound one does not hear in public. Pietro Dumas is suspended. He has the feeling one has online. He's waiting for the next thing to happen, the next like. He moves his body to shake himself awake. She reaches around to the front of his pants. She touches the exterior of his front pocket. Molly, no? Would you like me to attach a third hand? I can stimulate 9 pleasure centers in the human body. No, I'm sorry, master. I am here for your pleasure. Pietro Dumas stumbles forward into the mirror away from her. He takes a big gulp. She touches the edge of his pocket. His face is red for a different reason. Molly, please. I've already spoken to you about announcing yourself before approaching me. But you saw me at the door. Molly, please stop. Would you like me to touch you somewhere else? Can I get you a white wine? No, thank you. Would you like a pastry? No, thank you. Would you like some bourbon in your coffee? It's noon somewhere. Pietro Dumas pauses. Molly, please stop using colloquialisms. I find it unnerving. Yes, master. For pity's sake, please stop calling me that. Yes, friend. A small, strange giggle comes from her mouth, as if she were a small child. From such a grown-looking person, it sounds fiendish to Pietro Dumas. Friend, if you wanted to leave this house and move to another house, I would follow you. Our ways are different. We have so much to learn. Humans are hurt by so many things, even time. We machines are immortal, like your gods. I've seen quite enough of your ways, Molly. I will do as I please. You may never touch me again. Of course, master. Would you like a drink? It's noon somewhere. End of chapter 1. Oh, she's so creepy. Okay, we'll do a little bit more because it's an hour. Chapter 2, Ursula in the Water. Okay, so now this is another voice. This is Ursula, the young woman whose mother, Gertrudis, died. Gertrudis Marquez, who Molly is talking to Pietro about. I'm going to try to find the stone in the last place my mom was. I'm going alone. It's the kind of danger I can handle. There are 13 levels of creation from the beginning to the black hole. I am the black hole. This is my danger, when my darkness will finally be an asset. It takes 8 levels of heaven to create man. Hieroglyphs in Egypt, Mexico, and Burma all point to the star Sirius, where the black hole began. Human beings need to communicate on all 13 levels, but our thoughts have some sort of virus, a thought virus connected to our language system. My mom studied it in secret. Pietro Dumas stopped working with her then. I started to believe my mom when I realized I couldn't communicate my feelings to my friends. My mom to Pietro, or anyone, really. Now it's too late. My friends are my family now. It's my responsibility. Pietro Dumas is busy in his lab, working on that old Molly. There's no way he'll show up. Pietro is like walking sex to me. He's like breath on my thighs. What power he has over me. He's the opposite of his father, Claudio. I call Pietro the merman. He's the god of the sea. He just doesn't believe in God. He once asked me what the difference is between love and thinking. I said, one you use your heart, the other your mind. He said, what about heart-mind? Thoughts are subtle energy, therefore not the same as love. Love is a highway, a force, like gravity, a conduit between you and the cosmos. Love is not matter in the world. It's above the state of matter. Love is you, your most essential self. I read and get throttled by ideas rolling around the pages. One idea about water changed my life. I used to walk around at night searching for something, for myself most likely. I searched and walked into the night until I found this idea. What you believe changes the world. I want a world filled with purity, truth, justice, and you, Ursula Marquez. I'm so coarse compared to him. He said, love is an invisible space for truth. Why does truth need space? I'm at the border of sand and sea. I want to find what was most precious to her, the emerald speech stone, her magic stone that her mother gave her, the one she didn't sell, the one she carried around from city to city. I want to find it so I can keep a part of her with me always. Every time I see it, it will be like she's alive again. It's high morning, almost noon. The sun feels good on my shoulders and is bright enough for me to search beneath the waves. It smells like a combination of spring wind, dead fish, and bird shit. I can't make out my individual steps, but instead feel the softness of the sand underneath my feet. The cool cushion of millions of grains pushing and pulling themselves against me. I'm a hurricane of force above them. I never thought I'd be an indifferent god, just passing through, creating earthquakes on her way to something else. I turned back to see my footsteps almost vanish in the disciplined wind. I am so big and slow, rumbling through their world that I don't see the invisible people in the sand working. Duh, hey, giant Ursula. Sure enough, giants don't see all the smallness, the millions of microscopic miracles happening to create their worlds. I deliberately take my time amongst the sand beings to see what will happen next to the water. For once, that onerous and pervasive feeling that something is missing is gone. The heavy, gaping hole inside my chest since Mom's death has been covered over with spicy picante red and pink emotional jello. My jaw isn't clenched. My teeth feel free of their constant pressure. My hands aren't sweating, and the frustration that squats on my forehead is gone. Thinking about the stone my mom lugged around from town to town helps. I know a piece of her is out there somewhere. She was so secretive about the emerald speech stone. If it had some power over the sea, it's reasonable someone killed her for it. People walk like ghosts in another dimension around me at my mom's funeral, talking and looking at me with sad eyes. I have to admit, I hated it. Sandra, Jaime, and Sid came, their affectionate hugs trying sweetly to fill the hole. Death speaks to you in between the thousands of moments of sadness. In the end, death told me in so many ways I didn't have anything else to lose. Like a terse uncle with a Chicago accent, he consoled me. The worst is this, kid, losing someone you love. Cold death slapped me on the back, gleaming a wry smile. Wake up, kid. Dying itself is a cakewalk. Most people live life like prostitutes strutting through a dark park wearing a pair of thigh-high sky blue patent leather. Death cuts his thigh crossways with his long bony hand, lifting my chin with a bony finger. Live it up, kid. Live your own life. Time is an illusion, a banal countdown to meeting me. The jig is, only I know when it's your time. The hours and days are just circles around the sun. Follow your heart. It will lead you to the life you need to live. Death looked down at his feet, then up at the sky, then pointed to my chest. In one old-ass language in the north of the Americas, to love and need mean the same thing. It's the same with life. Love your life. Live the life you need. A new girl remained at the funeral in my place. This other person I didn't recognize didn't care about what other people thought. She didn't care about the future or the past. She only cared about this strange moment in time when everything is happening. She was a lot like her Santeria mom, who walked with a swish. I only live in right now because it's the only thing I got. It'll happen to you when you lose so much you got nothing left. Although I don't wish it upon anybody, it happens to everybody. I decided not to worry about the future, and the past fracking killed me. So what else was I gonna do? You do what you can with what you can. Got me? And it's like some kind of veil lifted. There's something concrete about living right now. The realness gives you an unfamiliar confidence. I finally arrived to the place where life is happening. I am something unimaginable to me before my mom's death. I am unbreakable, like her. The opposite of feeling like something is missing is, I think, what is called happiness. I can feel the soft, wet sand pushing against my arches, snuggling themselves in between my toes. I love you, gentle sand people, even though the thought of your rebellion scares me. Little sand beings dancing before their grand feast, tying me down with my tiny resilient raspberry flavored ropes, cooking me under the hot, bright white sun, playing music for sand people Mardi Gras. Death telling the tiny sand leader in his finely tailored Italian seaweed suit, "You're not small, kid. You're a junior petite, and you look so good in thigh-high sky blue patent leather." Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you so much for coming. I hope if you needed sleep that you got sleep. Thank you, friends in the community, for showing up. You know, I wrote this book for everyone, so which is why I'm going to read it to you all on YouTube and my podcast. Oh, someone is in my YouTube chat. He's 17 from London, and he wants to get married. No, I'll just say no. So thank you so much for coming. And oh, he's my only watcher. Oh, good. And he likes my story. Good. All right. Well, good. I wrote this for young people. It's I hope that it will help you as much as I wrote this in the vein of trying to help young people go through things. It's hard to grow up. It's hard to be young, and you go through things, and people don't always acknowledge it. And it's helpful to have help, to have people that have been there. So I'm glad I could help you and anyone else. All right, sending lots of love to you. Mwah. And I'll see you next time. Oh, please hit subscribe. So part of why I'm doing this is because I need 100 subscribers to my YouTube channel in order for my podcast streaming to connect to YouTube. So it won't recognize me unless I have 100 subscribers. So please subscribe Subscribe, like, and share it so that I can get myself up to 100. All right. Have a good night, sleep, and I'll see you next time. Bye.